Have you noticed that the things you chased the hardest slipped away, yet when you stopped forcing, something better arrived? It's almost as if the universe was waiting for you to loosen your grip, because only when you let go does life reveal the path that was meant for you all along. We think clarity comes from effort, but in truth, it comes from surrender, from trusting that what is meant for you cannot be taken, and what is not meant for you will never stay. There is a mysterious intelligence guiding you, shaping you, positioning you, but you only hear it when your mind becomes quiet. The hidden path doesn't appear when you demand it. It appears when you release the fear, the attachment, and the need for control. Today, we step into that moment of release, because once you let go, the signs appear, the right people arrive, and the next chapter opens in perfect timing. Are you ready to see the path that's been waiting for you? Resistance blocks the path, revised. You've experienced moments in life where no matter how hard you try, nothing seems to move. You wake up every day with effort in your heart, pushing toward a goal, yet every door you knock on stays firmly shut. In these times, people often assume that life is denying them what they want. They begin to believe that something is wrong with them, or that they are being punished. But the truth is far more compassionate and intelligent. Resistance is not rejection. It is redirection. It is life whispering, "This is not the way forward. There is another path waiting for you." When you cling too tightly to one specific outcome, you trap yourself inside a very narrow vision of what is possible. Your mind, conditioned by fear and habit, tries to control every detail. You tell life how it must unfold and when it must unfold. But the universe does not operate according to the small timeline or structure your mind creates. Your plans, though important, are often limited by past experiences, fear, and imagination that cannot see the bigger picture. Sometimes what you want is too small for the life you are meant to live. Resistance is a sign that your energy is misaligned. It's like trying to swim against a strong current. The more you fight, the more exhausted you become. You begin to feel frustration, disappointment, and even hopelessness. This inner struggle becomes a war between your expectations and reality. The longer this war continues, the more drained your spirit becomes. You lose clarity, you lose trust, you lose joy. But nothing changes because pushing harder is not always the answer. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It means you create space for something better than your current plan. It is a pause that invites clarity. It is stepping back just enough to see that there may be other doors, other directions, or other possibilities that your limited point of view could not recognize before. Think of water. When it flows, it effortlessly finds a path around rocks, through soil, over edges. But when water is blocked, pressure builds. It becomes turbulent, chaotic, and destructive. Eventually, it must release itself somehow. Your mind behaves the same way. When you keep forcing a plan that no longer aligns with your growth, inner pressure builds. You feel confused, stressed, and overwhelmed, not because you are failing, but because you are pushing against the natural current of your life. The moment you release control, even a little, something subtle begins to change. A sense of peace returns. Your thoughts soften. You begin to see options that weren't visible before. You may even notice signs or inner nudges guiding you toward a new direction. Because when the pressure drops, truth finally has room to flow in. Resistance is not the enemy. It is guidance in disguise. It tells you when a path has ended, when something is no longer aligned with your soul, and when it's time to trust in what you cannot yet see. When you let go, you open the door to a bigger plan, one that is designed for your highest good. Letting go changes your frequency. Everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different speeds. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions all carry a frequency that quietly broadcasts into the world around you. Even if you do not speak a word, your inner state is always communicating. When you cling to outcomes, when you hold on tightly because of fear, you emit a frequency of scarcity and desperation. It is the energy of, "I don't have enough, I might lose," or "This must work exactly how I want." That vibration does not attract what you want, it pushes it further away. Letting go is not the same as giving up. Letting go is choosing trust over fear. When you release your grip on how life should unfold, you step into a higher energetic state. Instead of demanding, you allow. Instead of tightening, you loosen. Instead of forcing, you flow. In that shift, something powerful happens. Your vibration changes. The energy you send out becomes lighter, calmer, clearer. You move from scarcity into sufficiency, from panic into patience, from fear into faith. Most people try to achieve their goals while still carrying the energy of fear. They want love, but they vibrate insecurity. They want success, but they vibrate unworthiness. They want peace, but they vibrate anxiety. They do not realize that life doesn't just respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you are. If your inner world is chaotic, life will reflect that chaos back to you. If your inner world is settled, centered, and trusting, life begins to open in ways that once felt impossible. Think of a radio. To hear a specific station, you must tune to its frequency. If you are even slightly off, you only get static noise with no clarity. Your desires operate the same way. If you want peace, you must tune your energy to peace. If you want abundance, you must tune your energy to abundance. This tuning happens not by chasing or stressing, but by letting go of fear and surrendering to a deeper wisdom. We are often taught that effort alone creates results. But in the quantum reality, your state of being is more important than your actions. You can work all day, but if your energy is anxious and doubtful, your results will reflect that energy. Meanwhile, someone who works less but carries a calm, aligned frequency may receive opportunities with little struggle. The difference isn't luck, it's vibration. Letting go means you stop resisting what is. When you stop trying to force outcomes, your nervous system relaxes. Your thoughts become clearer. Your decisions become more intuitive. You become more receptive to possibilities that you could not see before. Suddenly, you notice chances that were invisible when you were stressed. People respond to you differently because your energy feels safe and confident. Life feels less like a battle and more like a conversation. This is why surrender is so powerful. When you stop clinging, you lift your frequency into a state of openness. In that state, you no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you receive. You no longer fear, you trust. And this trust becomes a magnet, drawing what is meant for you into your life naturally. You begin to see that what is aligned always finds you not through force, but through resonance. You cannot receive what you are not energetically prepared for. The universe does not hand you opportunities when you are vibrating at the level of doubt. But the moment you let go of the need to control and step into faith, you rise to the level of what you desire. It is not the world outside that must change first. It is the world within. When the inner shifts, the outer follows. Letting go is not a passive act. It is a powerful, energetic upgrade. It is choosing to align with possibility rather than limitation. It is saying, I trust that what is meant for me will arrive. When you hold this state consistently, life begins to unfold in remarkable ways. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People show up at the right moment. Answers arrive when you need them. Your life begins to feel orchestrated rather than chaotic. This is the essence of letting go, releasing the frequency of fear and stepping into the frequency of trust. And when your frequency changes, your life changes with it. The universe hides the path until you release. The path you are meant to walk is never truly missing. It is only hidden when your mind is crowded with attachments. Most people believe they are stuck because there is no way forward, but in reality, the way is present. It is simply concealed beneath the weight of what they refuse to let go of. We hold on to people who no longer nourish our spirit, to routines that drain our energy, to beliefs that keep us small. We cling because we are afraid of the unknown, even when the familiar is hurting us. Yet the universe cannot reveal the next chapter while you are still clutching the last one. Imagine carrying heavy bags in both hands. If someone tries to offer you a gift, you cannot receive it. Not because the gift isn't there, but because you have no space for it. In the same way, When your heart is full of outdated attachments, old desires, expired relationships, forced plans, there is no room for new guidance or new blessings. Your hands, your heart, your energy must become available before the universe can place something meaningful in them. Sometimes, what you cling to the most is exactly what blocks your evolution. A job that feels safe may be limiting your growth. A relationship that feels familiar may be dimming your light. An identity you've outgrown may be keeping you from discovering who you are becoming. The universe sees what you cannot. It sees the potential within you, the paths you could walk, the versions of you that are waiting to unfold. But until you let go of what has finished its purpose, you're stuck staring at a closed door, blind to the open ones right behind you. Letting go begins with accepting that not everything is meant to stay. Some people enter your life just long enough to teach you, to awaken something in you, to prepare you for what comes next. Their departure isn't a failure, it is a natural transition. Similarly, certain dreams that once inspired you may no longer fit the person you've become. The goal that once felt urgent may now feel hollow. This is life signaling that your soul is moving in a new direction, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. When you resist these transitions, life becomes heavier. You experience confusion, frustration, and emotional fatigue. You try to force things to work the way they once did, but nothing flows. This is not punishment, it is guidance. The universe blocks what is no longer meant for you so that you do not waste your energy trying to resurrect what has already served its purpose. This blockage is not a wall, but a redirection, a gentle push towards something more aligned with who you are becoming. Only when you release what no longer serves you does clarity arrive. The fog lifts, new ideas begin to surface. You notice signs, synchronicities, and unexpected opportunities, all of which were absent before, not because they weren't there, but because your attention was locked onto the past. The very thing you were begging life to restore suddenly makes sense as a temporary chapter, not a lifelong commitment. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing the past. It means honoring what it taught you and accepting that its role in your life has changed. It means trusting that something new is waiting beyond what you've outgrown. When you release with grace, you step into a state of openness, a state where the universe can finally guide you. The universe is always communicating, but it speaks most clearly to those who are willing to listen rather than cling. When your heart is empty and receptive, the next step reveals itself naturally. You feel pulled rather than pushed. You feel guided rather than lost. The path begins to unfold quietly, one step at a time, often in ways you never could have planned. Freedom, clarity, and new beginnings do not come from holding on. They come from releasing the old so that something greater can enter. The universe cannot reveal what's ahead if you remain attached to what's behind. When you let go, truly let go, the path stops hiding. It appears, not because it suddenly exists, but because you finally became ready to see it. Surrender is an intelligent act. Most people hear the word surrender and imagine weakness, doing nothing, stepping back, or accepting defeat. But surrender is none of those things. True surrender is a conscious, intelligent choice. It means shifting your attention from fear to trust, from forcing life to listening to it. Surrender is not about abandoning your dreams. It is about cooperating with the deeper wisdom that shapes the direction of your life. When you surrender, you stop fighting battles that drain your spirit, and you start moving in harmony with the current that is trying to guide you. There is a powerful clarity that comes when you stop trying to control everything. When you are obsessed with shaping every detail of your future, your mind becomes crowded with noise. You think constantly, wonder endlessly, and stress about outcomes that haven't even happened. That internal chaos blinds you. It blocks your ability to notice the subtle signs and messages that life places in your path every single day. The universe is always communicating, but when your mind is loud, you cannot hear its gentle guidance. Surrender creates space. It allows your nervous system to relax, your thoughts to settle, and your awareness to expand. In that state, the answers you have been chasing start to appear naturally. Insights arise, intuition sharpens. You begin to understand what is truly meant for you. When you are tense, you miss the signals. When you are open, everything becomes a message. A delay is no longer a punishment. It becomes direction. A closed door becomes protection. A sudden shift becomes invitation. Awareness grows only when you step out of resistance. Think about how often you have forced something in your life, a relationship, a job, a plan, simply because you were afraid of losing it. You held on tightly, even when it felt heavy or wrong. You pushed through signs telling you to stop. And what happened? Eventually, exhaustion came. The more you force, the more disconnected you feel. You lose energy, but gain nothing in return. Surrender breaks this cycle. Instead of forcing outcomes, you begin to trust timing. You trust that what is meant for you cannot be taken, and what is not meant for you cannot stay. This is why surrender is strength. It takes courage to release control. It takes wisdom to accept that you do not always know the best path. It takes maturity to allow life to unfold without constantly interfering. Surrender is not passive. It is active cooperation with the universe. It aligns your inner world with the rhythm of life itself. You stop trying to swim against the current, and instead, you allow the current to guide you toward where you are meant to go. When you surrender, you still move, but your movement is guided rather than forced. As you relax into trust, you start to notice how life responds. People enter your life at the exact moment you need them. Opportunities arise without struggle. Problems resolve themselves with surprising ease. You begin to see patterns, repeated symbols, synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel like gentle nudges pointing you forward. These are not accidents. They are signs that you are aligned. They are the universe's way of saying, you're on the right track. Surrender also invites a deeper kind of intelligence, intuitive intelligence. This is the voice within you that knows before logic does. It comes from silence, not noise. When you surrender, you learn to listen to this voice. You stop seeking answers outside and begin recognizing that guidance is already within. This inner knowing is quiet, but unmistakable. It does not shout, it whispers, but its whispers become clear when you stop fighting life and start trusting it. This does not mean you stop taking action. Surrender is not laziness or avoidance. You still make decisions and take steps toward your goals, but your actions are no longer driven by fear or desperation. They come from clarity and alignment. You act when it feels right, not when panic forces you. You wait when needed, without feeling stuck. Surrender teaches you the difference between forcing and flowing, between pushing blindly and moving with awareness. There will be moments when surrender feels uncomfortable because your ego loves control. It wants certainty, it wants guarantees, but life does not work that way. The most beautiful chapters of your life will often unfold in ways you never planned. The more you try to control, the smaller your life becomes. The more you trust, the larger it becomes. Surrender frees you to experience new possibilities that your mind could never have imagined on its own. At its core, surrender is faith. Faith that there is a greater intelligence moving through your life, guiding you toward the experiences, people, and lessons you need. Faith that even the challenges you face are shaping you into someone more capable, more awake, more aligned. Faith that what is meant for you will always find its way, even if you do nothing but remain open. Surrender does not say, I give up. It says, I trust. It says, I am willing to follow the flow rather than fight it. And when you live from this place, life becomes softer, clearer, and more meaningful. You stop drowning in resistance and begin floating in awareness. The path reveals itself not through force, but through surrender. At the deepest level of existence, beneath physical matter, beneath the body, beneath thought, there is a field of pure energy, the quantum field. Every possibility, every outcome, every path exists there. It is not empty space. It is a living intelligence that responds directly to the quality of your inner state. This means that your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are not just personal experiences, they are instructions you broadcast into the field. The universe listens not to how loudly you speak or how hard you work, but to the frequency you hold within. Most people are taught that life rewards only hard work, constant effort, and relentless pushing. They believe that struggle is what makes things happen, but the quantum reality works differently. Your external world does not shift simply because you are forcing it to. It shifts when the internal vibration you carry aligns with what you want. Struggle often stems from fear of not having enough, of being left behind, of failing, of losing control. When you operate from that energy, your actions become frantic, stressed, and chaotic. You might be moving, but it is movement without alignment, and therefore, it yields little. On the other hand, when your inner state is calm, trusting, and aligned, the field responds immediately. You begin to attract experiences that match your vibration. You notice synchronicities, moments where events seem perfectly timed. You encounter opportunities that feel natural. You meet people who resonate with your direction. What others chase seems to come toward you with little resistance. This is not magic or coincidence. It is resonance. You receive what you are energetically in harmony with. Think about a tuning fork. If you strike one fork, another fork with the same frequency will vibrate automatically. It does not need to be hit. It responds simply because the frequency matches. In the same way, the experiences you desire already exist in the quantum field. To receive them, you must match their frequency. The work is not about forcing the outside world. The work is about elevating your internal state so that you naturally draw those experiences to you. When you struggle, you tell the field, "I don't have what I want, I am lacking," and so, the field mirrors that energy back to you, producing more lack, more delays, more obstacles. But when you shift your state into one of trust, gratitude, and openness, you create a different signal. You say energetically, "I am aligned, I am ready, I trust," and the field responds by delivering the experiences, people, and paths that reflect that readiness. This is why some people achieve great things effortlessly, while others work endlessly yet remain stuck. The difference is internal. Two people can take the same action, one succeeds, while the other fails, not because of luck, but because of the energy behind the action. One acts from fear, scarcity, and pressure. The other acts from clarity, purpose, and trust. The field responds to the quality of being, not the quantity of effort. You can think of your inner state like a magnet. A weak, scattered magnet pulls nothing. A strong, aligned magnet attracts easily. Your energy is the same. When you are filled with doubt, your energy is scattered. When you are filled with clarity, your energy strengthens. The stronger and more aligned your inner state becomes, the more powerfully you attract what matches it. Letting go plays a critical role here. When you let go of forcing outcomes, you stop interfering with the field's natural intelligence. You step out of survival mode, the mindset that says, "I must control everything or nothing will work." Instead, you step into a state of receptivity, a mindset that says, "I trust that what is meant for me will come." This creates openness, and openness is the key that allows the field to express possibilities through your life. There is a deep difference between acting from fear and acting from alignment. Fear-driven action is frantic, full of anxiety and urgency. Aligned action is calm, focused, purposeful, and inspired. One is reactive, the other is intuitive. One drains energy, the other renews it. When your internal world is balanced, your choices emerge naturally. You do not need to force decisions. You simply know. There is a quiet certainty, a sense of being pulled instead of pushing. You have likely experienced moments where things just fell into place, where plans worked effortlessly, where people showed up at the perfect time, where opportunities unfolded without stress. That is the quantum field responding to your state. You were aligned, so life aligned around you. And you've also experienced the opposite times, where everything felt difficult, where even simple things fell apart, where nothing moved. In those moments, your state was resisting, and the field reflected that resistance back to you. When you understand this, your focus shifts. You stop obsessing over how life will work out, and instead, you pay attention to your inner atmosphere. You begin to ask, how am I feeling? What energy am I holding? What am I radiating? Because if your inner state is chaotic, the path will remain unclear. But if your inner state is steady and trusting, the path will reveal itself. This does not mean you stop taking action. Action is still necessary, but action without alignment is weak. Action rooted in alignment becomes powerful. When your state is coherent, when your heart and mind are in harmony, your actions carry tremendous force. They ripple through the quantum field and reshape reality. This is why a single, aligned decision can create more growth than months of frantic effort. The universe is always responding to who you are being, not what you are wishing for, not what you are begging for, who you are. When you let go of struggle and cultivate trust, confidence, and inner clarity, you shift your frequency, and the reality you experience shifts with it. You become a creator rather than a chaser. Life stops feeling like a fight and starts feeling like a dance. The quantum field is not activated by tension. It opens to those who trust. It opens to those who listen. It opens to those who align. The real work is internal, shaping your inner energy so that life can reflect it back. Struggle tries to force the future. Alignment invites it. And when you learn to live in alignment, you discover that reality bends toward you naturally, quietly, effortlessly, without resistance. Life constantly moves in cycles. There are seasons of gaining, seasons of losing, seasons of building, and seasons of releasing. Yet the human heart often struggles most with the season of release. When someone or something leaves, whether it is a relationship, a job, a dream, or even a version of yourself, the first reaction is usually pain, confusion, or fear. We cling because the familiar feels safe, even if it no longer nurtures us. But the deeper truth is this: nothing is taken from your life unless space is needed for something new to enter. What leaves is not a loss, it is an opening. Look at nature, and you'll see this truth reflected everywhere. Trees shed their leaves every autumn. They let go generously, without regret or resistance, because their very survival depends on it. If the tree refused to release old leaves, new growth would never come in spring. Each leaf that falls creates room for something fresh and more suited to the new season. Life asks the same of you. Release what has completed its purpose so that you may evolve into your next stage. However, letting go feels difficult because your mind attaches meaning to what is leaving. You think, I need this person, I cannot live without this job, or this dream is who I am. You imagine that letting go means losing a part of yourself, but in time, you realize that what departed did not diminish you. It helped you uncover more of yourself. Some people are meant to walk with you only for a chapter, not the entire story. Some dreams are stepping stones, not destinations. Some situations arise only to teach you what you needed to know before guiding you forward. When life removes something, it is not random, it is alignment. What is truly yours, what is meant for your growth and fulfillment, cannot be taken. If it leaves, it was never destined to stay. This understanding transforms loss from something painful into something meaningful. It becomes easier to see endings not as punishments, but as transitions. Instead of asking, why is this gone? You begin to ask, what is this making space for? People often cling to what is familiar because the unknown feels frightening. We fear letting go because we do not yet know what comes next. But the universe rarely reveals the next chapter until we release the previous one. This is why transitions feel like emptiness, that emptiness is not a void, but a womb. It is fertile space preparing you for new creation. Just as a room must be cleared before new furniture arrives, your inner world must be cleared before new blessings can enter. Consider how relationships function. Sometimes, someone exits your life suddenly. It hurts because of attachment, but with time, you often realize their presence had already stopped adding to your growth. They may have taught you a lesson, awakened a deeper truth, or helped you see your worth. Their departure created room for someone more aligned with who you are becoming. You may not see it immediately, but eventually, the purpose becomes clear. The same is true for opportunities. A job you thought was perfect might end unexpectedly. At first, you feel panic. You worry about the future, but later, you discover a new path, something you would have never pursued if the old door had remained open. What you thought was a setback was actually preparation. Life was not taking from you, it was redirecting you. Even dreams evolve. A goal that once inspired you may begin to feel heavy or disconnected. That shift is not failure, it is growth. As you evolve, your dreams must evolve as well. Holding on to an outdated dream limits your expansion. Releasing it invites new desires that match who you are now. There is courage in admitting that something you once wanted is no longer aligned. Letting go honors your transformation. What leaves your life may trigger grief, and that is natural. Allow yourself to feel it. Grief is not weakness, it is processing. But understand that underneath the sadness lies a quiet truth. Space is being created. That space is sacred. That space is possibility. That space is invitation. You are being prepared for what is greater, though you may not see it yet. Trust that the universe does not subtract without intention. Nothing is ever removed unless its presence is either complete or limiting your next step. A relationship might hold your growth back. A job might be too small for your purpose. A dream might be limiting your evolution. When these things leave, they are not ripping your life apart. They are clearing your path. You may think you want everything you lose, but often, if you look closely, you will see signs that you were outgrowing it long before it disappeared. The discomfort, the misalignment, the inner whisper that something wasn't right, these were the signals that change was coming. When you ignore these signals, life steps in. It removes what you will not release. This is not cruelty, but protection. In time, you begin to recognize the pattern. Every time something left, something better arrived. Not always immediately, and not always in the form you expected, but eventually, the new made sense. The loss prepared the ground. The emptiness invited growth. The ending formed the beginning. What leaves is not a punishment, it is a clearing. What leaves is not the end, it is a restructuring. What leaves is not meant to break you, it is meant to free you. When you trust this truth, letting go becomes easier. You stop fearing endings. You stop clinging to what is fading. You learn to release with grace, knowing life is always guiding you, not harming you. And as space opens within you, you begin to feel a quiet readiness, a sense that something new is approaching. There is a moment in every person's life when they realize that the path ahead is not revealed through force, tension, or control, but through the quiet act of release. You can spend years trying to plan every outcome, make every detail perfect, and control every turn, only to find yourself exhausted and still unsure of where to go. But something extraordinary happens when you finally loosen your grip on how life must unfold. When you stop insisting, stop pushing, stop chasing what no longer resonates with your inner truth. A new clarity begins to emerge slowly at first, then unmistakably. The path you spent so long trying to force suddenly begins to show itself, not because you created it, but because you allowed it. This is the paradox of life. The more you try to control it, the more chaotic it becomes. The more you try to predict it, the more it surprises you. But the moment you surrender the need to control, life finds a way to guide you. This is not passivity, this is alignment. The path appears not when you fight for it, but when you create inner space for it to reveal itself. Before clarity comes release. Many people believe that to know where they are going, they must hold tightly to their goals, their relationships, their identities. But the truth is the opposite. Only when you let go of what is no longer alive within you can you begin to see what truly is. Sometimes, the path is hidden only because you're facing the wrong direction. Your gaze fixed on something that is closing, instead of noticing the door opening behind you. Think of all the times in your life when clarity arrived unexpectedly. Not when you were anxious, desperate, or pushing, but when you gave yourself permission to breathe. When you stepped back. When you stopped demanding answers. Perhaps you took a walk, rested, prayed, or simply allowed yourself silence, and suddenly a thought, an insight, a possibility came. You felt pulled in a direction you had never considered. That is the nature of true guidance. It appears when the mind is quiet, when the heart is open, when control has softened into trust. Letting go allows you to move from fear into awareness. Fear clouds your vision, convincing you that safety lies in holding on. Awareness, however, reveals that safety lies in trusting your inner knowing. When you release attachment to outcomes, timelines, expectations, you allow life to guide you one step at a time. You stop trying to see the entire journey and begin noticing the step right in front of you. And often, that is all you need. One step, then the next. The path is revealed gradually, not because life is withholding it, but because the only way to walk a path with true presence is one step at a time. Those who try to control everything often walk in circles, following the same patterns, replaying the same lessons. But those who let go and listen are led forward. They notice signs, synchronicities, unexpected encounters, all pointing in a direction that feels strangely right, even if it doesn't match their original plans. The universe speaks through subtlety, a repeated message, a gut feeling, a coincidence that feels too precise to ignore. When you're holding too tightly, you miss these messages. When you release, you begin to hear them. Letting go also changes the kind of opportunities that appear. When you cling to what is familiar, you attract more of the same. But when you release that familiarity, you create space for something new to enter. Life responds to openness. It responds to readiness. And readiness is not a matter of doing more, it is a matter of uncluttering the inner world. When fear dissolves, trust grows. When trust grows, action becomes aligned instead of frantic. Many people think that letting go is passive, but it is one of the most powerful actions you can take. It requires honesty, courage, and faith. It means admitting that not everything is meant to stay. It means releasing not because you've stopped caring, but because you are choosing to value truth over attachment. Letting go is choosing growth over comfort. It is stepping into uncertainty with the understanding that uncertainty is where transformation lives. And when you let go, truly let go, something beautiful happens. Life begins to meet you halfway. People appear who support your evolution. New ideas arise that inspire you. Opportunities show up unexpectedly. Your inner voice grows louder and clearer. You feel lighter, more alive, more aligned. Decisions begin to feel intuitive instead of forced. You begin acting not from pressure, but from inner clarity. You realize you don't need to chase anything. What is meant for you naturally gravitates toward you. This is not luck, it is alignment. You untangle yourself from what was never yours, and suddenly you are free to receive what always was. Sometimes the universe delays clarity not because you're unworthy, but because you're still carrying old beliefs, fears, or attachments that would prevent you from walking the path properly. If the path was revealed earlier, you might not recognize it. You might reject it. You might sabotage it. The path reveals itself when you have become the version of yourself who can walk it with strength, humility, and wisdom. This is why letting go is the doorway to destiny. It transforms you into someone capable of receiving what is waiting. You do not find the path finds you. It has been there all along, quietly waiting beneath the noise of fear and attachment. The moment you let go, when your mind softens, when your heart opens, the fog lifts. The road becomes visible. You take the first step, and then the next. And somehow, with each step, life aligns around you. The journey feels guided, as if something unseen is walking with you. Because it is. The universe has never been silent. You are simply holding on too tightly to hear it. Once you let go, you discover that the path is not built by force. It unfolds by grace. Life is not withholding guidance from you. The path has always been present, quietly waiting beneath your fears, beneath your attachments, beneath your need to control. Every struggle, every delay, every closed door was never meant to punish you, but to prepare you, to teach you where not to go, so you could recognize where you truly belong. The journey was never about forcing life to match your plans. It was about becoming aligned with the deeper wisdom already guiding you. Letting go is the moment everything begins to shift. When you release what is heavy, your steps become lighter. When you stop clinging to what has ended, space opens for what is beginning. When you stop resisting, you begin receiving. The universe cannot fill hands that are already full, but the moment you empty them, even slightly, life rushes in with new possibilities. The clarity you once begged for comes not through effort, but through openness. Trust that nothing leaves your life by accident. The relationships that faded, the dreams that dissolved, the opportunities that slipped away, each one carried a lesson, a purpose, a preparation. Instead of mourning what is gone, honor its role and allow yourself to step forward, because every ending, no matter how painful, creates the exact space needed for your next beginning. The universe speaks in whispers, in intuition, in synchronicity, in gentle nudges that show you what's meant for you. When your mind is quiet and your heart is open, these whispers become guidance. You begin to feel when something is right, even without proof. You begin to see signs that align with your inner knowing. You realize that the path is not found in the outside world. It arises from within. And as you walk slowly, patiently, trustingly, the path continues to unfold. Not all at once, but step by step, just as you need it. You are never meant to see the whole map. You are meant to stay present, grounded, aware. Each step transforms you. Each moment teaches you. Each breath reminds you that life is not against you. It is always guiding, always inviting, always shaping you into who you are meant to become. So let go of what is fading. Let go of what weighs down your spirit. Let go of the demands you placed on life. The moment you do, something extraordinary happens. You return to flow. You return to alignment. And in that alignment, the path that once seemed invisible begins to shine, not because it suddenly appeared, but because you finally became ready to see it. Once you let go, the path reveals. Walk it, trust it, become it,